Tex right now.
Boring injury questions.
How's Jake Clifford Tex to start with?
Close. Jake did most of training today. We'll have to see how he pulls up tomorrow. I wouldn't say he's a tick yet, in that box, but he's given himself every chance. Tex probably a few days too soon. It's getting close. So, but doubtful for Huddersfield.
I suppose before we go on to the next one, that David Litton playing so well, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
He was good, yeah. Oh, listen, we like all our players are fit and available and for selection, but he did good. Davey, he was energetic. He come up with some really good stuff. He wasn't without fault in a couple of areas, but that's the position he plays too. That's what happens at fullback. You're in the spotlight, but he did good. Yeah, I'm pleased for him. Thank you. We thought he would, handle it pretty well, and he did.
How about the others? James Shaw, obviously Scott Taylor, Little Ivo, Jacob Parney. How are they getting on? Andre Sedelio too.
Yeah, one at a time. Surely not right yet. His calf. He's not returned to full training. He's running, but straight line stuff. He'll be a little while yet. Mitch gets a scan. He's still had swelling in his knee. He's had an old knee injury. He's got no ACL in that particular knee that he did some years ago. And we've had to wait for the swelling to go down before he can get a scan. He'll get a scan on Friday with our doctor, Andrew, who's a knee specialist. Then I believe your choices are probably B for Mitch. Does he go down the rehab route again, meaning just hopefully get it back to some sort of working order, or does he have a fairly significant operation where they take some of your hamstring and create a new ACL for you, which is option 2. So, it's after Friday, we'll have some clearer ideas about that. Who is next?
Scott Taylor, Andre Sedelio.
Scott Taylor, right back this week. Yeah, he's right and fit and available for selection. Andre should be close to. He's still strapping his hand, and he's still got a bit of soreness in the ligament in his hand, but I think he'll be available for selection this week.
Obviously, Sports Cast interviewed him yesterday, really good man as always. Talks about his jaw, and also for Charlie Severs as well, that's gutting in it, coming back after such a long time and then doing the other shoulder.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, no, it's not great for Charlie, but, we're hopeful that it isn't going to need an operation and can be, looked after without that, hopefully. We'll see. I think he has got some part of his makeup is, he's got some issues with his shoulder. Regardless of him being a rugby league player, I think it's just his part of his makeup and genetics, if you like. Some of us got strong ankles and some haven't, and some have strong knee. I think, Charlie's, been challenged there with, the sport he loves and some shoulders that, at times haven't agreed with the sport he loves. So, tough one for a young man, but we're keeping positive and doing our best for him to keep positive about it. So, Kai shouldn't be too bad. Kai's, injury, he was cleared of any break, so he should be okay and ready to go anytime soon.
Good stuff. So you said 3 coming back into contention at least there, so gives you some food for thought in selections with your 21 and obviously your 17.
Yes, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of experienced boys there that, come back into the mix. So we'll consider that throughout the week and work out where they fit in or if they fit in.
How's the week been for you so far? It's quite a long turnaround, did it, from Leeds into Huddersfield this week? And I'm guessing, is that a good thing?
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to get straight back out there and play as quick as you can. Short turnarounds sometimes are, the way that you want to deal with when you're not playing well. You want a chance to go fix it up. And a lot of our games so far have come thick and fast. There hasn't been many extended breaks differences in games as much as we've had this one. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's been a good thing. It's allowed us to do some more work, if you like, earlier or further away from a game, which, hopefully it's given us a chance to get some of that tough stuff that we need. We need to toughen up, I keep saying it. And sometimes when the games are coming thick and fast, it's hard to do some of that tough stuff or the shorter turnarounds. It's harder to do some of that contact work and some of the wrestle and, to the same degree. So, I think it's been a good thing for this time.
Danny spoke then about last week not being that far away in attack. Obviously, defensively in the Irish Shield, you have to look at the numbers, but with the ball, a little bit better, just that final little touch.
Yeah. I don't go too far from that. Yeah, I agree. I'm not making excuses for our guys. I'm not hid behind the fact that we haven't scored enough points and we've conceded too many, and we need to play better. We had 3-4, you could say, new halfbacks, fullback, hooker last week. All four of them were new together, combination-wise, without really having too many options there. In terms of it had to happen, and they did all right. Was it good enough? No, not up against their experience, and I'm going to say their experience. They lost Caesar reasonably early in the game, 20 minutes into the game or so. But Austin and Myler are seasoned veterans, in that respect, and they probably made some differences, that whereas our new combination probably didn't have as bigger impact as a couple of old heads like them. But we've got to learn, we've got to learn from that, and we've got to be better, and create and take our chances when they arise. And, it's all part of it, but we're not shying away from we have to be better than what we are at the moment.
Looking forward though, if Jake Clifford does come back into the side, you've also got Danny Houghton, who he did use a little bit at half-back, and he did actually contribute to one of the tries, so there is a couple of options there at least for you to experiment on. Yeah, there is. Yeah, I thought he made a good account of himself. Denny played 3 positions the other night, and I thought he played them all pretty well. He played hooker, and he played loose forward, and he played left half-back for a while when we had to shuffle people around, I thought he gave us a bit of a spark there. So certainly an option for us. Obviously if Jake's back well, I think that's one of the half-back slots taken care of. But we'll have to see if he makes it. Well, it's a tough situation right now, everyone knows that, but you spoke quite passionately last week after the Leeds game about sticking together and the boys, the pain they're feeling right now and how much drive they've got to put it right. Can you elaborate on that at all, please?
I'll just be repeating myself. We're remaining positive about getting better. We're not shying away from, and nobody has. And that was saying, and we weren't saying before the season started that we were going to be world beaters either. We're going through some processes here at the moment and some changes, and it's hurting us. It's hurting, our supporters. We get that, and we can't wait for when we're putting smiles back on their faces. But We've got to remain positive here and upbeat, and people, want to see us kicking stones. Well, I'm not going to. My job is to get my players upbeat and feeling like this week is their week. And we come in and we deal with it. We look at our performance, we analyse it, we put our hands up, say this isn't good enough, this isn't good enough. Hey, this is, and we need to do more of this. But after that review, you're not going to see me dragging my bottom lip around, and I don't want my players to either. I also don't want them to go out there and, not caring or just carrying on as though life's okay. They need to work harder, and they need to, put in extra time and extra effort in their training in order to get on top of their game. We all do. But hey, if you ask me about our future, it's going to be bright, both this year and beyond. Would we like it brighter now? Absolutely. There's no doubt in that. But the only way, if we've got a whole heap of people here who are giving in and not trying and despondent, and it's just not. That's not the environment here. It's not. You go down to the training park. Any of you can come down to the training park and watch. Upbeat, good talk, positive. If anybody isn't, they're not. They're in the wrong sport, but they're also in the wrong club. We just create an environment where they've got to work hard, and they've got to, be positive about everything that they're doing at training in order to get better. We know it's not good enough.
I wrote a positive piece yesterday looking at what Hull have actually got to be optimistic about. It's quite refreshing, actually.
Oh, good.
Youth and the spine. You could have that first choice spine in theory playing next month. Obviously, Jake Sherman could be back next month. You've got Brad Dwyer, you've still got Danny Houghton, you've got Jake Clifford, you've got Ted. So I'm sure that leads to brighter times.
And Davey Litton, in amongst that, and probably another couple, Benny McNamara, probably like his name being said in that same breath as well. Listen, we've got a whole lot of things that, we're going to get better at, and some of that's with our players, some of that's, just confidence and working through a hard time. Some other teams are going to go through some tough times between now and the end of the season. Whether it's as tough as ours, I don't know, but you'll see some twists and turns. We're waiting for a couple of twists to happen for us, and when we do, we'll get a whole lot of confidence out of that. But in the meantime, we're not going to get despondent, and we're not going to, kick stones around and, dwell on not being good enough. We're just forging ahead and going, right, we need a better performance this week. If we get a better performance, it gives us a chance. If we're going to go out there and feel like we're not as good as, everybody tells us we're not, and start believing all that, well, we're no chance. We've got to be real about where we're at, but we've also got to be positive.
So speaking of positivity, good news for the club this week was 6 players in the Yorkshire Academy squad, obviously Kai and a few others, so that's a really good incentive for the club.
Absolutely, yeah. I keep saying it. The juniors are, your heartbeat of your club, and we've got to develop them, particularly in this part of the world as well. It's always been a strong rugby league area, and it's great that we produce them, and great that they're getting recognition. We've got to keep developing them. We've got to keep putting resources into developing young players. They're our future. You still want to have a few sprinklings from outside in the future. We always, everybody wants to see a bit of that. But the more we got locally bred, and and because we've got a good program going and good coaching and good methods here, the better it is for our club, the better it is for rugby league. So. Yeah, no, it is a real positive, and we've got to, as a supporter, I keep saying it, we've got to nurture that. We've got to develop our next generation, and they're the heartbeat of us. We're going to get picked off as a sport, in this part of the world. Rugby union are going to take some of our best players. NRL are going to take some of our best players. French rugby union's going to take some of our best players. We've got to keep replacing them, and we've got to understand that we haven't got the money in rugby league here at the moment to keep hold of them. So it's important that we put enough resources into our junior setups and junior networks to keep replacing the ones who get taken.
Absolutely. On the governance side of the game, if you like, AMG's criteria has been unanimously approved by the rugby league clubs today. What are your thoughts on that?
Listen, I haven't had an update whether there's been any changes. I think I was fairly vocal about some of the before, if there's been any adjustments. I haven't read, if there's any adjustments, but one of the criteria that I mentioned, we just talked about, I thought needs to be part of the criteria. It's junior development and bringing players through your area, from your area. If it isn't part of the criteria, I'm not so pleased about it. But I don't know. Listen, I haven't been privy to what IMG are bringing to the table, for their services. I'm not sure. I understood how we're going to be graded, but I wasn't sure about what income or what we're getting back the other way. I'm still, I'll need to read why the agreement was agreed unanimously, but it doesn't really matter what I think, does it?
I suppose 12-year partnership, you'd like to think a lot of that comes to light in the near future.
I hope so. Yeah, there's a lot of questions or a lot of holes that I didn't know or would like to know before I'd jump into a 12-year contract.
Absolutely, that's fair to and going back to it's Huddersfield back at home this week. It's going to be a tough game. They've got some threats as well. Obviously, Jake Connor coming back, he's going to, you can guarantee what he's going to be like. He's going to be like, oh yeah, I can't wait. Be rubbing his hands together. But there's other threats there. I think two here as well, and good forward pack. Yeah.
No, they're a good team. They've been a good team for the last few years. Watto's doing a great job with them, and he's a great young coach, and not so young anymore. He's catching up a bit, but they're a good team, and they deserve all the raps that they get. I think they were predicted to finish pretty high before the season started, and won't surprise me if they reach some of that. They've got some good players, but they've shown that they can be beaten. It'd be nice if we were added to that list in terms of the teams that beat them, but only time will tell. And great effort. That's the only way to beat them. They're really big on the effort part of the game. They do the little things well, and that's what makes them hard to beat.
Thanks for your time, Tony, as always.
My pleasure.
Hey Tony.
Hi Steve.
Just a couple of things going back, first of all, to the Leeds game. For that first 25 minutes or so, we played pretty well, and it's just a case of converting some of that pressure into points. And I suppose if you could bottle that up and then channel that into this week's game, it'll help. But what can you do to instil that into the players to try and keep that momentum up for the full 80 minutes?
Yeah, just work hard, practice, revise. We review, we look at those periods of time and see what we did and see how we can even turn some of those into points. I think, we needed to, and we need to, earlier in games, turn some of that. That gives you confidence. When you got the scoreboard ticking your way, that gives you confidence. Likewise, when the scoreboard ticks the other way and you're standing behind the post having that same old chat that you had either last week or a few minutes ago, it doesn't instill too much confidence. It doesn't help. It doesn't bolster the confidence. So we've got to stick with that and get more determined at both ends of the park. For mine, both ends of the park. I like some of what we did with the ball last week. I like some of the pressure that we built at times in those atrocious conditions. It was tough, slippy rugby league that, you only need to make one or two mistakes and you find yourself on your back foot. You know, we needed to put Leeds on their back foot a little earlier, and you know, when we went down our own end, we found ourselves on our back foot too quick, and we need to toughen up. We need to be more resilient, even when they come back down our end, and make sure that they don't, you know, tap a ball back or bounce of a ball, and you know that we're the ones diving on it, not the opposition. Till those things happen, you know, we're going to find ourselves behind on the scoreboard. But yeah, we're determined that will turn around and change. And hopefully that, as I keep saying, you know, that'd be nice if it was 3 weeks ago, but nice this week if we could get that going.
Yeah, good. And I know you've spoken about it already, but the spine, and it's really, you know, good that you're not sulking, you're not going in and using it as a you know, something that you're going to look back on and say, well, that's the reason why. You're just getting on with it. I think, but it still must be frustrating to realise that you've got, you know, key individuals in key individual positions missing week in, week out, because I don't think we've had a settled spine all season.
And that can happen. That can happen. That's our sport. It's nice when you can and you get it settled. But most, you know, so many teams. When you're winning games, you don't have to change your team so much. You don't have to, you know, you don't have as many injuries, I'd suggest. You know, most of the teams that are dominating games don't have as many injuries. And they don't have, but certainly they don't have to change for form reasons, or, you know, or put people into experimental situations, you know, or just have some of those rotations because of injury or form. So yeah, no, it's we're the causes of that. I think if we were more dominant in games, we'd have less changes, you know, both on selection reasons and also injuries. But you know, we've got to take that into our own hands. That's not just luck. You know, we've got to make sure that we're dominant, and we'll find ourselves get on a roll, and we, you know, that builds confidence. And when what is confidence? It feels like you can't be beaten or things will go right for you. On the other side of it, you feel vulnerable and you feel like you're not sure about things, and that's probably where we've been at. We've got to get out of that. We've got to get more confident about what we can do and what we can, you know, challenge other teams to.